Um, Earlier tonight, I went and saw a special early screening of the new Hunger Games movie that's out. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Now, for those of you that don't know, yes, there is a new Hunger Games movie out, and it is based on the new book, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So, if you have not read the book, go read the book, and then go watch the movie, because I highly recommend this. And this is going to be my non-spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the movie, do not watch this video. Actually, no, do watch this video because this is a non-spoiler review. Okay, so anyways, let's get started. So, for those of you that have read the book, I'm going to tell you this right off the bat. This movie is not like all the other ones before. This movie is something else entirely. It still manages to capture what we loved about the first 4 movies and make and show us a completely different side of the games itself, not focusing solely on the games and the spectacle of the sport that it is. Sorry. It is it is very, very based through the eyes of one character in particular, and that is Coriolanus Snow. As we know, in the years to come, becomes the tyrannical president of Pan Am. But this story, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, talks about him during his earlier years. Of course, right now I'm going to tell you guys, this story, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, takes place 64 years before the first Hunger Games and all the other characters that we knew. So this is placed 64 years, and in which time the state and the country of Pan Am is still suffering, in a sense, from the war that broke out during the Dark Days. So this, and when you see the capital, you'll realize that this is not the capital that we know from before. This is a capital still very much war-torn, but they are slowly progressing to get back to the power that they had before. It's a slow progression for them. So, through the eyes of Coriolanus Snow, we get to see him as not as the tyrannical leader that we knew in the first 4 movies. This is just him as a guy, as an individual, as a human, just trying to make an impression and make his name still mean something. Because to the people in power now in Capitol, his name has just been shunned, has just been spat on in the Capitol. And of course, now he gets chosen for the 10th annual Hunger Games to be a mentor to one of the tributes to a girl named Lucy Gray Baird. Lucy is not like Katniss at all. Lucy is totally different. She is very much a mystery. Like, she's also a singer. So there's a lot of that incorporated into the book. Um, and there is also some characters that are related to the characters that we know later on, way down 64 years later. Um, but this movie captures Pan Am in a totally different light. It still maintains, like, the movie puts it on like a retro 1930s 1940s feel to it, but it still captures, in what we know as a war torn America in the far future. Um, of course, people that have read the book know that the book itself is very long. Um, I think, honestly, from my view, I think they probably should have split this movie into two different parts, like they did with Mockingjay. But at the same time, I think they sum up all three acts of this book very well in the runtime that this movie has. Now, this movie has a runtime of 2 hours and 40 minutes, so there there is that. I was really surprised about how good they capture all the sites, all the buildings. I was really how they still managed to capture the spectacle of the mythology and and introduce us to these characters now on the big screen. Um, what else was I gonna say? Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. It uh, it is definitely very different from the other four. With this movie being a prequel set 64 years earlier, it definitely is worth watching. Um, now I have got to go and read and finish the book. Um, yeah, but also I have to give it to the cast and everybody for doing so well in these roles. Our lead guy, Tom Blythe, who is in the role of a young Corelena Snow. I don't know much about Tom Blythe. I don't think I've seen him in anything, but he nailed this performance. Um, and of course, we got two big A-lister actors in there. We have Viola Davis and Peter Dinklage. Now, Viola Davis's character in this movie was pretty much by far my favorite performance of the movie entirely. Her character is basically like this utterly insane, I don't know. It's kind of like this character's kind of got, like, I don't know, like a bit like a witch doctor vibe to her. But of course, anything Viola Davis plays in is just absolutely freaking good. Like, I love her acting. She is a phenomenal actress. And of course, Peter Dinklage himself, he definitely has nailed himself another role very well. Although it's very different from anything he's played before. While, he's up there playing this character, he still manages to keep, his whole Peter Dinklage self out there. So they definitely don't tone him down on this. And then, of course, there is Public Enemy #1 on YouTube right now that people are really, really laying the hatchet to. That is, of course, Rachel Emez Zegler. Um, First of all, look, I'm not a big fan of her as a person, based on what I've heard, but I do have to give her credit where credit is due because of her performance as the character of in her role playing Lucy Gray Baird. Sorry about that. I do have to give her credit where credit is due. I think she did a phenomenal job for this character. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that with her. But overall, phenomenal and outstanding job for everybody involved with this movie. I definitely give this movie a solid 10 out of 10. So, this has been my review on The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So now everybody go read the book if you haven't. And then after that, go watch the movie.